we start, I can hear my neighbors like screaming and laughing through the walls. I think they're having like some kind of like game night or something. So if you hear like screaming and grunting and groaning, it's not the demons, it's just my neighbors. They're having fun. We're all having fun. I am excited. I feel so good. I already feel this Virgo new moon energy like seeping in and like filling in the cracks. It's already been starting for me, and I don't know if it has been for you, but I definitely feel like the last like waning phase of our like full moon, I was able to like clear up almost everything that I've ever had on my things to do list ever. And so going into this new moon phase, like I almost have a completely clean slate to start from. So if you are not starting with a clean slate, then I would say wrap up loose ends of like either like get rid of those old projects that aren't serving you anymore, or like wrap up the loose ends and finish them up so that you can really like clean your plate for all of like the big goals and the things that are like dear to your heart and really like bring you to life. Because that's what we're trying to focus our attention on, really what it is that we value and we're trying to manifest. And you know, the power of overcoming, you know, truth and illusion, that angel that works with that power, that energy represented by the magician, who's also ruled by Mercury, who Virgo is ruled by Mercury. It's all about focus. It's what are you focusing on? You know, physics has figured this out, that in particle physics specifically, that what we focus on, like any pure energy in particle form even, is affected by the fact that we are observing it, right? It reacts differently. So what are you focusing on in your life? What are you putting your energy and your intention into? Because whatever you're concentrating on, that's kind of like your focus is like calling that in and attracting more. So are you focused on lack? Are you focused on frustration? You know, we had this theme coming up over the last week. It was like the wild animal and 10 of swords and the beauty card, and it was just alerting us to look and see like what parts of our lives are we like really feeling deprived in, or like we've kind of gotten depleted and we haven't nurtured ourselves, and where is that like kind of animal within, like our animal urges, what is it telling us that we're lacking or that we need to take care of? Where do we feel pinned in or cornered? You know, where do we need to be able to free ourselves to be a little bit more wild and untamed and spontaneous, right? So Virgo is an interesting sign to me, because it's nothing that I mean, it is kind of what you expected, but it's not. It's like, it's an earth sign, but it's also ruled by Mercury. So to me, Virgo isn't really like any of the other earth signs. Mercury makes Virgo mutable. So Virgo is a lot more flexible than, say, a Taurus or a Capricorn. They're also, Mercury is one of the fastest planets, if not the fastest. So Virgo are a lot quicker to move, or a lot faster thinkers, a lot faster as far as like making quick decisions than the other earth signs. So I think that right now we do want to harness those powers of Virgo to be quick in our ideas and putting those to action, right? Being really focused and focusing that magician energy of Mercury into what we really want to create, and taking our energy off of what we no longer want to experience, right? We don't want to call in these self-fulfilling prophecies anymore, and we don't have to, right? Like the 10 of swords the other day was telling us about how, like, we've come to the end of this pattern and we don't have to keep perpetuating it. But if we do, it's like, we're just going to make it harder on ourselves, right? So life is really unfolding in a beautiful way to offer us more ease and more enjoyment and more passion. We have to like kind of create the life that offers that and be willing to change with it, right? Be willing to transform and grow. And so, as we're going into this Virgo new moon, we are looking at Like Virgo is this divine, it reminds me of the divine feminine, supernal divine feminine power, the dark mother, the one that is able to take that initial unadulterated masculine force that's just unfiltered and completely dynamic and has no form or like focus at all, and like give it shape and structure and form and discipline. But it's not so stern that it's not nurturing as well. It's the fact that those boundaries, those structures, those routines, those systems that Virgo offers are not only, you know, disciplinary, but they're also nurturing, right? Because we have to have some kind of a routine to sustain life, right? Like we need to make it a friendly habitat for life to be able to grow in and for our dreams and visions to be able to grow in, right? So we're going back and we're reevaluating. It's interesting too that we are, you know, we're rolling right into Rosh Hashanah season. And so when we are leading up to Rosh Hashanah, it's all about, you know, Rosh Hashanah is that time of year where it's the birthday of all souls, and it is represented symbolically by Adam, the creation of Adam. Adam is like the representative of all mankind, and all of the souls were mankind were born through Adam. So when the separation of consciousness from the purely whole, completely connected, open channel to divine consciousness, when we fell from that, we became separated, this like veil of the ego, right, came over and separated us. And so every year we have this birthday where we go back to that our birth, and it just so happens that it all kind of happened in one day. So it was like the birth of man and then the fall of man all in one day. But it's like, it's okay. We are looking at that every year going, okay, where has my consciousness gotten off? Where have I lost focus? Where have I put my focus in the wrong places? You know, where have my shortcomings gotten the better of me this year? And how do I really want to take on like a new passion to correct that, to get my focus realigned, to be in the present, to be surrendered to the process, and to be completely trusting in divine, that really, even though I'm wanting to improve myself and improve my, you know, routines and patterns and the things in my life, I want to also know there's nothing wrong with me at all, that I'm completely whole, that anything that the Creator put within me, including weaknesses, goals, dreams, it's all there. It's all part of my assignment in this life of unfolding. It's all part of my growth assignments. It's all part of my service assignments, right? And so Virgo is a sign of, you know, not only nurturing and structure, but of service to the self, but also to mankind. So we want to bring into balance, okay, we want to set healthy boundaries so that we are being of the best service to others and to the best service of ourselves. We're setting high standards, but we're also, we have strong boundaries so that we aren't depleted, right? So that, you know, if someone is not showing us respect, if they're not, you know, meeting us as equals, then we reprioritize them in our lives. We don't have to burn a bridge, but we just understand them a bit differently, and we refocus our attention, refocus where we are investing our time and our resources, right? Look to see, you know, the things in your life that take up space and time. Are they bringing you joy? Are they adding to your life? Or are they taking away? You know, that show that was out a while back, the Marie Kondo thing, I never really watched it or got into it, but I remember people talking about how amazing it was to get rid of clutter and how good it felt. And I've actually been doing a lot of like deep cleaning projects recently, and like just going through a lot of stuff, getting rid of a lot of stuff, changing things around, and it's like so crazy how good it feels. You can feel this lighter, freer energy in your environment, right? So take stock, you know, in each category of your life. Where do you need pruning? What could you move out of the way to make room for something else to come in that could be, you know, have more growth potential for you, that would be more in alignment with your values. You know, the North Node is in Taurus, and the South Node of the moon is in Scorpio for the next bit. I don't know how many more months or a year or whatever we have left of it, but it's about transforming our lives in accordance to be a reflection of our values, of the things that we're passionate about, of the things that are meaningful to us, right? So think about, you know, your routines. What's really good for you? What keeps you going? What gives you rest? What gives you, you know, what refills your tank? What gives you energy? What helps you thrive? You know, it helps to batch cook, right? If you can plan like, okay, when you're gonna go to the store, getting little things like that organized that don't seem like a big deal, that are like the mundane things, the mundane cornerstone basics of your life. If you can get those smooth and healthy and running like a well-oiled machine in such a way that it primes your wellness and your energy and your focus and frees up more time, that's what you're wanting to do here. You're wanting to enhance all the areas of your life by making them more efficient, but just more in alignment and authentic to you. Don't go through the motions of things just because you think you're supposed to, or that it's always been done this way, or because the other people expect it of you. Like, what life do you want to lead, right? Because while everybody's got an opinion, opinions are like assholes and everybody's got one, right? Nobody has to live your life but you. So stop, like, live for other people in the good Christian sense, in that you are trying to show up your best so that you can be a beacon of the light, that you can show up and be the fullest self that you can bring that day, to be kind, to be present, to give, you know, attention and focus into your work, right? To give quality, to bring quality and value wherever you go, right? So that's what we mean. Was there anything else? I feel like I kind of touched the base of everything I wanted to say about Virgo. Be aware, don't fall for the tendency of Virgo to be overly critical of the self. I started to touch on this a little while ago, but spirituality is about accepting the paradox that we are always in a state of expansion and growing, and we're embracing that process because we have affinity with the light, and the creator is always expanding and growing. The universe is always expanding and growing, but it doesn't mean that it's not perfect and wonderful and miraculous and brilliant, right? So we are also perfectly wonderful and miraculous and brilliant, and we're not getting bogged down and feeling bad about ourselves, right? Like the shadow side of Virgo, or the way that the opponent can sort of use that energy, is to make us feel like we're lacking, like we don't measure up, like we're not enough, and we have to be a perfectionist and show up and do it perfect, right? It's not about that. It's about bringing excellence to what you do because you're enjoying it, the fullness of the moment, right? It's part of the fullness of the experience, not because you are trying to be adequate enough to deserve love, right? We're all worthy. We are all worthy of love. We are all deserving of being here, right? The thing about the growth and the transformation is just to make it all the more brilliant and beautiful, right? But we're perfectly perfect in our imperfections. So it's like we accept that about ourselves, and we embrace ourselves, and we embrace the process for the joy of it, for the fact that it just makes everything better and better and better, right? Okay, cool. Let's do a Celtic cross reading with the Straightforward Oracle, which is my Oracle deck that I'm currently creating as we speak. That's one of my goals. I've been trying to touch bases with this deck, at least like do, you know, a couple of cards a day, every day, and chip it away bit by bit, all right? And you're my witness because we've been using this deck together for a little while. But you know, it's a process. Creativity is a process. And everything happens in its own time, but it's kind of like The Art of War, or The War of Art by Steven Pressfield, or like, what was the I can't remember which book it is that he wrote, but he talks about being a professional versus being an amateur. And an amateur shows up for their art when they're inspired. But a professional shows up for their art every day without fail to the time that they set aside to do it, regardless of whether they feel like it or not. If they just have to stare at an empty page, then that's the work that they did that day. All right, you guys. So our first card, what is representative of us in the context of this moment that we're in now? Okay, that I'm not taking that card, but it felt really like obnoxiously like trying to come out. Okay, forgiveness is what is being asked for. I want to throw furniture through a window. I get this card, forgiveness. But it's true. It's like the more that we can forgive, it's like, here's the thing. What's blocking us up and clogging us up is all the garbage that we're holding on to. The bitterness, the grudges, the resentments, the tit for tat, right? That's the thing that is usually blocking the flow in our life, because you can't be stingy and selfish with your love and then expect love to flow through. Vibration is about giving and receiving. It's like this flow of like zim zoom, and it is like this infinite thing that like feeds back into each other, right? So in order to allow giving and receiving and the flow of anything and to vibe with anything in resonance, you can't be blocked in one way and think it's going to be flowing in another. So the more that we can forgive others, the more that we can forgive ourselves, the more that we can forgive the past stories that we have told over and over and over again about this given situation, about this person, about, you know, I mean, like just going through our childhood stuff. It's like the stories that we have told ourselves about like what kind of experience we had growing up. It all may be true, but can we choose to see it differently? You know, can we choose to allow our perception to be healed? And can we examine, you know, how we project those traumas and those underlying fears, those unrealized hopes, and, you know, all this stuff that's buried under the surface, the unconscious belief systems, you know, the unconscious patterns that just play out over and over again. How can we forgive the debt of all of it and just let it go and be new people with a new slate, starting over? And it's not to say that you're just like letting that person off the hook and saying it's okay, but this is for you. This is for you to be liberated and free, right? And to allow, you know, bridges to be mended. And because it doesn't feel very good to go through life and have upsets with people. It doesn't feel good to have like falling outs or severed ties, right? Especially with the people that we love the most. And it's usually the people that we love the most that we have these falling outs with, because they're the people that have the power to push the buttons and trigger us to that degree in the first place, right? So maybe it's time to make up and, you know, mend the relationships in your life, or at least pray for the support from the Holy Spirit to help you start to see them differently, and pray for the Holy Spirit to intercede in the situation and help build the bridge and mend the fence and do the healing work on both sides in order for amends to be made and for, you know, a new fresh start. You know, my mom was just telling me about how her and an old friend picked back up again, like just like they had never, you know, stopped talking. I mean, they were at odds for a while, for years, and I'm not even quite sure why, and I'm not sure if they know exactly why. I can't even remember, but it was one of those things where it was just became this unspoken tiff and rift between them, and they really missed each other and they really needed each other in their lives. And fortunately they ran into each other at their mutual friends' husband's funeral, and they all just picked back up where they left off, didn't even ever have to talk about it again. They didn't have to do anything dramatic. They just started having fun, and now they go out every weekend, and I'm so happy for her. But this too could be you, right? And that's another thing. I mean, just being able to enjoy, spending time with my mom. It's just so nice to heal all that childhood stuff and parent stuff. And we're not blaming our parents. No one, is saying that your parents weren't adequate or even wrong. It's just that we're all human. We all make mistakes. And children are very impressionable and very sensitive. And so the things that happen in our childhood are very galvanizing, right? And they plant like these memories and beliefs and stuff that we don't even realize are there, that are playing out kind of until we become aware of them and turn it all around. And I think during doing this work has allowed for me and my mom to just have a better time together too. All right, what is crossing you right now? Ooh, signs and synchronicities. Have you guys been seeing little signs and oracles that keep showing up? Maybe like a certain name that keeps popping up, or a certain symbol, or an animal messenger or whatever. Pay attention. Maybe even keep like a list going in your journal of these signs and synchronicities, because I feel like something is really coming through. It's like circling the runway. It's just waiting for a place to land, right? And I think that we can do a lot of work during this month using this Virgo energy to sort of clear the decks and prepare for a windfall, right? Like say you were to win the lottery, right? Are you prepared to know how to manage that amount of money and not lose it like in a year? Prepare yourself. Are you prepared to meet like a potential like romantic partner right now in your life, right? Do you have enough room in your life to deepen your friendships or make new friends, right? So like prepare and like watch the signs. The signs are going to give you some guidance. Signs, omens, synchronicities, oracles, angel messages, spirit communication. Keep tabs on the consistent messages that are continuing to show up. Is there a theme that's evolving here? Does it feel like the universe is using all kinds of mediums like signs, video clips, podcasts, numbers, colors, animal messengers, song lyrics, even like dialogue from television shows? Have you ever been watching a show and you're like, oh my God, like this feels like literally like the dialogue is like the conversation that I need to be having with the person I'm watching the show with? Has that ever happened to you? You just look at the person and then go like that, just that, apply this to you. So messages, song lyrics, etc., to have a continuing conversation. The signs will come to you. The signs will come to you. Don't look for them. And that is a very important part about not deluding yourself. Like people get carried away with signs and they get obsessive and they go on Easter egg hunts looking for them. And then they're like, oh, I've been seeing all these signs. And it's like, well, you're looking for them to be signs. Like if you are like, well, I'm going to have my sign as a shell, and you're like, oh, shell station, that's my sign, shell station here, shell station there. It's like, don't make something a sign. A sign will like bite you, it'll come up and like slap you in the face and be like, oh my God, like this is ridiculous, right? And then it'll keep happening. It'll present to you. You won't have to go like looking for it or like bending it to make it the sign, right? Let's see. Okay, so the signs will come to you. Don't look for or chase them. They will stand out or strike you in a poignant or funny or obvious way. Don't try to make something a sign or actively search for them. Simply ask for a sign, maybe even ask for something specific like a blue feather, and then let it go and walk away. It will take you by surprise and grab your attention. All right, so don't go chasing waterfalls. Just wait for the rivers and the lakes that you're used to. Okay, dumb references over. All right, so subconsciously, what's influencing the situation right now? You're fretting. Okay, so we have had a lot of swords suit cards recently, which tells me that there's a lot of activity going on up in the mind. And that's good if you've got a lot of ideas and you're like getting them all out and stuff, but it can also be a symbol or a sign that your mind is like running away from you. And if you don't have like a mind that's just full of like puppies and kittens and rainbows, then your mind can start fretting, right? You want to train your thoughts to stay on the things that you want to be thinking about, the things that make you feel good. You have to actually build this muscle within your mind to cultivate the inner landscape that you want. Catch yourself when you start having nightmarish thoughts going on, when you start catastrophizing, when you start dress rehearsing tragedy or crisis or chaos. Stop yourself when you start having, when the practice conversation becomes imaginary, like arguments you never have, and you get upset with people that haven't, like they have not even done anything with you, to you. Stop yourself from doing that. So you are fretting. The fretful energy is like blocking up your sitch. The more that you fret about something, the more you are reinforcing this frantic need to control the situation. And the more you are affirming that you don't trust, that you're not certain that divine timing is at play, you're not having patience, you're not trusting the process, and you're not trusting the truth that whatever is in alignment with you is going to be magnetically drawn to you, it will resonate with you, and it will stay. If it is not in alignment with you, then it will not. And if something is not coming into your sphere right now, if you're not receiving what you want, then put your focus on something else, because you're focused too much on the lack of it. And what you want to focus on is trying to cultivate the feelings that you think that thing is going to give you. We never really want the thing. We want the fulfillment that we feel with the thing, whether it's a wonderful steak or a nice bowl of weed or a really hot patate, a sexy date, or a beautiful partner who's like completely devoted, or if we want the sports car or the big house, or we want to make sure and see our show. There's something that we want from it. We want the fulfillment. We want to feel good. We want the high, right? We want that shot of the light. And it's all the light, right? It's just being revealed through these different ways, right? So if we can focus on being able to cultivate that feeling of fulfillment by just imagining ourselves in the receiving or in the having of it, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I can generate that feeling of fulfillment and pleasure without even having the thing, then by the time the thing gets to you, you're like, oh, it's like I've already been having this. It's just like, oh, now it's finally here, right? So you are just training yourself to feel fulfilled without the flesh suit attached. And then you're invincible and you need for nothing. And then you're completely connected with the fully awakened higher self, and you will be a magnet. And then at that point, I would suggest you go buy a lottery ticket. All right, what is the influence from the past that is affecting us in the present still? But this influence is also in the midst of sort of clearing up. I lost that card. It'll come out again if it needs to. Oh, I think that was it. No, I lost it. I lost it. No, I didn't. No, I did. Okay. Oh, okay, new situation. All right, feel that. So this, like we've been talking for like this year, the first like half of this year was sort of like going through these phases or these different veils or portals of this through this new beginning. It's like these initiation phases. Like we're in the foyer, and now we're in the vestibule, and now we're in the grand hall, right? It's like we keep moving and moving and moving. And then finally, like I guess July, it was like, okay, now we're finally in the sequel of our lives, like Liz part 2, or whoever you are, like she back or he back or whatever. It's like this new phase of our life is so different that it's not a new chapter, it's like a whole nother book. It's like a whole nother movie, right? And so July was like being in the opening credits. And then August has been sort of like that opening moment, that first scene in the movie where you're like getting introduced to the character. And it's like we're kind of getting introduced to the new us, right? Here's the new situation. We're going along, right? And in every story, in every movie, we open with the character in their life and everything is sort of stable or in the state that it's in. And then there is a decisive, inciting event that sort of flips everything upside down and turns it around and sends the character on a venture, like a path of self-discovery and an adventure, like on some kind of like quest or goal of the movie, right? And the underlying theme is like how they grow inside. But the outer challenge, the thing that they're trying to achieve is like the big, whatever. Well, such is life. So if we are in like that opening scene of the movie, within 10 minutes into the script, that big thing has to happen to turn it around, right? So I feel like we are in this new situation. This is the influence from the recent past that is still having an effect on us. So we're still in the beginning, in the intro to the movie of our new life. But around the corner, something is going to change things soon, my friends. And I think that it's going to be a positive change. I think that we're finally in a romantic comedy instead of like a high suspense thriller or a horror movie. Okay, what is crowning us now? Ooh, energy detox. I love this. So use that Virgo energy to be the editor of your life, to cut the fat, cut out what is not really jiving, really hone in on all of the routines that have been making you feel good, making you feel enhanced, that have been really creating harmony and ease and abundance within your life, and keep on doing those. And all of those little things where you're just like blowing a little fuse here and there, it's like you know what you need to clean up, right? Now's the time to do it. And this energy, this support can make all of your efforts like 10 times. All right, so clean your environment, clean your things to-do list, clean out if there are people in your life that are just negative and bringing you down and they're not necessary, like you don't have to like keep them in your life. They're not like deeply close long-term friends or family. You can just allow distance to form and grow your separate ways. What's coming around the corner? It's a match. The romantic comedy. Oh my God. Y'all, seriously. It's a good match. Romantic chemistry, worth exploring, something to be learned, resonance, compatibility, mirror, a worthy adversary, a good pairing, mixes well, two parts enhanced when brought together. And so I feel like we could be meeting someone new, or you could be in a partnership with someone else that you are going into a deeper and more fulfilling phase with, or you're like all of a sudden getting like really on the same page and you're really turning a page with this person, right? But for those of us who are single, we might be meeting someone soon because we're becoming so much more attuned to like who it is that we really are and all the things that we're not and all the things that we don't want. So it would only be, like the only result of that is that we're like fine-tuning our radio station. And so yeah, now we're gonna have to be discerning, right? And like be clear and be really honest as we move forward about like who's presenting and what these situations are telling us, right? And so don't take it too seriously. Have fun, explore, see how it goes, right? And be be free to not invest too much until you know more, right? Take it slow, take your time. It could also mean that this life that you're building for yourself is actually a really good match for you. Maybe you're really liking your job right now. Maybe there's a lot of things about your life that you're just like, oh man, everything's going really great. Like, I'm just in love with my life right now. Things are going well, but there are components that are being added to it that are enhancing it, right? There are things that are, we'll just leave it at that. There may be friends coming in, there may be creative helpers, there may be opportunities coming in that are a good match, or there could be like an actual like partner coming in that's a good match for you right now. And then the context of that, like you won't know really where it's going until it goes there, right? So don't get too ahead of yourself, but be open and have an open heart and clean of expectation and clean of projection. Just be the observer, see how it goes. The perception that you have that's affecting your situation. Time to move on. The situation has no more to give. There's nothing left for you here. You will regret wasting any more time here. There's nothing more to be shared, given, or received for the highest good. It is time to let go. The situation does not offer you true value that is authentic to you. So again, it's in alignment with this Virgo new moon. The things that are not offering you value, the things that are not truly in alignment with what you value, if something just isn't giving you anything in return, if something or someone is not respecting your boundary, if someone is just taking you for granted or not treating you very well, like, it's time to move on from the situation, because your perception around, I guess, thinking that there's something to be held on to, or maybe like nostalgia or something that you just can't let go of, like it's holding you back from fully moving forward into the new movie, right? So whatever this is that you need to move on from, that you need to let go of, maybe it's not going to leave your life. Maybe it's just your fretful energy that's locking up the situation. So you just need to let it go completely and move on. And if the situation, job, person, the move, the house, whatever it is that you want, that you're wanting to call in, but like you can't let go of something else, if it's meant for you, it will come back when the energy is aligned, right? Maybe part of the situation isn't prepared yet. Maybe it's not a no, it's a not yet. Maybe there are other things that are better for you around the corner that you just can't see, and you're like kind of stubbornly like hanging on to something that you don't want to give up on, right? So allow what is dead to fall away. And if you are feeling frisky, then get in there and prune it yourself. Okay? So, but this is a time to really like tie up loose ends, cut the cords on things that are keeping you tied to things that just aren't true for you anymore, that aren't serving you, that aren't bringing you any value, and that aren't helping you bring value to the world. Okay, what in your outer circumstance is affecting you the most right now? Destiny is calling you. The time is now. Answer the call. The world needs your gifts. You have something unique to share. So I feel very strongly that we are being set up to step into our purpose more fully, to understand our spiritual purpose and like the work that we're doing within ourselves in this life and within our, closest relationships with people. All of that is calling us, and I feel like we're being led or like lured in a direction for a reason. And we are given this moment right now where we can bridge our fated life, the hand that we were dealt. We can bridge that to our destined life, the life that we are choosing with our free will. But we have to have this moment here where we move on from things that aren't serving us, that we let go, and that we step up and up level into the kind of self-love and devotion that it is going to require to like actually see our dreams into fruition, right? So the time is now. Answer the call. The world needs your gifts. You have something unique to share. Wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey. Your purpose is calling. It is time for you to heed the call of your soul. There is something you've been longing to do for a while. Some distant siren has been calling you to cross over some chasm, some urge you can't shake. It's time to begin to open your heart, mind, body, and soul to this desire. Learn about it. Begin to take steps. Let it bloom for you. And as it does, you will find that you feel a sense of purpose in it. Bring this sense of purpose with you as you humbly show up for this call. Don't put pressure on this purpose to take care of you. Instead, devote yourself to committing to do whatever it takes to support this purpose. And eventually, it may repay you tenfold. Either way, there is something of value here. Okay, very exciting. Very exciting. Okay, what is this? This is hopes and fears. Bad advice. Someone around you is trying to give you advice. Their advice may seem logical, but it is wrong for you. Don't take it. Okay, and then this card was with it, vibrational resonance. Affinity with, in harmony, in flow. You are embodying the vibrational frequency of that which you desire. You are very magnetic right now. Evaluate your energy based on your vibe. What are you attracting more of? So I think that we've been getting bad advice like quite often. And I keep having this sense that it has to do with like, there's some situation in our life that is like in a stalemate. And I think that if you take traditional advice in the situation, it may seem logical, but like it doesn't apply to this particular situation. Like maybe you're in a situation where you're in like the exception and you feel like you want to take the traditional advice because you don't want to be that person that's like, oh, I'm the exception to the rule here, but like really you're just like everybody else. So like you're just trying to go with this bad advice because it seems good, because that's like the school of thought, you know? But maybe go off book. Like if you've been in a stalemate with a situation for a while and you've tried to like dip your toe this way and that, and it's like nothing's really changing, but like maybe you just have this like kind of Wyatt Earp urge to like do something crazy like against tradition or that may be counterintuitive, maybe try it. Fill out the situation. Like remember, you can trust that whatever is in vibrational resonance with you, you will attract, and it will, if it's meant to be yours, then it will be. So either just take a chance at failure and say, fuck it, who cares? Because whatever's in vibrational resonance is going to work out anyway. But yeah, maybe just try, maybe just go with your gut. If it's like, if you're thinking about doing something that is like maybe traditionally against the grain, trust the feeling around it. Maybe give it a shot. Take a chance. You just never know, right? But I think that feel into the vibration of the situation. And if it feels good, if it feels right, if it feels like you're not doing out of a place of ego or pride or fear or lack or like trying to control the situation, and it really does feel like you don't know why, but you just feel like compelled to do this. And it just is this sustaining thing that you kind of just feel this like peace about. And you're just like, whatever, I just feel like if I don't do it, it's going to keep nagging at me. And I just want to do it to like resolve the situation. Maybe try it. Maybe try it. Because maybe going by the traditional popular view, it may not work out for you. In fact, I remember actually a few weeks ago, somebody at work telling me something that I remembered thinking, like, it kind of broke my heart to hear it, but I was like, yeah, they might be right. But then like the bad advice card like popped up, and it was like, oh, I almost like took that in because it felt like, yeah, probably true. But what if it wasn't? And so I was like, yeah, you know, I don't know. I'm still not certain either way, but I just remembered the bad advice card came up. So just bear that in mind. Just bear it in mind, because really at the end of the day, we all have to like tune in to our own intuition, our own guidance, right? And it's a combination of using discernment and wisdom and our hearts, right? We can't always follow our heart completely unless we've done some work to heal it and correct it, because it can mislead us too, right? If we get like too caught up in our feelings, but we don't listen to like our better judgment. Sometimes we're being too logical, right? And we need to listen to more to our feelings. So it's like this dance that we're always learning to do. And so you really just have to tune in about that and take some time in devotion to like trying to tune in for guidance on that particular issue, okay? And so outcome. I'm just going to do that again because it was like a whole bunch came out. What is our outcome? Our probable outcome anyway. Where is this going? Where's all this energy leading us? What is our final thoughts? Affect consciousness. Oh, this is a new card actually I created the other day, and it's something that I've been talking about a lot recently. We are wanting to we want to have more affinity with the light. And so in order to do that, we need to become eternal, perpetual, unchanging. And so we must take on a consciousness of being the cause and not the effect. When things are happening in life, we don't want to be so affected by all of the outer circumstances, getting caught up in the illusion and believing everything that we see on the 3D. Or maybe, yeah, things that are happening on the 3D are happening on the 3D, but it's like we always want to like reach to get like this mundane solution for what looks like is obviously playing out, right? And it's really just a band-aid on a geyser. So what we want to do is go under the illusion to the energy of the situation and work on that. So we want to become the cause, meaning we set our vibrational tone like a thermostat. We set our mood, we set our mindset, we set our consciousness, right? And we decide, I'm going to be in a state of inner peace, and I'm going to bring heaven on earth with me everywhere I go. And just because I run into some irritating people out in the public, and just because someone cuts me off in traffic or does something dangerous, just because, you know, the line's long at the store and it's crowded, I'm not going to get irritable or impatient. I'm going to continue to be in a perpetual state of inner peace, right? Because I value my vibration, right? When you work on your energy and you put effort into it and you invest time and effort into making things harmonious for yourself, you start to realize how quickly like a bunch of like little things can pile up, and all of a sudden you're in an irritated state and you're like, oh, this feels like crap. I want to go back to feeling good again, right? So you learn to just snap out of things and let it go, because you're like wanting to get back into like, I want to be in inner peace. I don't want to be impatient, right? So whatever is causing the block in our life right now, we are being too affected by it. We don't need to be a victim of circumstance. We don't need to be blowing a fuse and reacting, right? When something exciting happens and we win the lottery, if we're affected and we're like, oh my God, now I have money, and then we turn into like a monster, like the jerk, and like a rich asshole who's like completely full of himself and like lost all touch of what really matters, right? That's being affected. If we are, you know, in some kind of like traumatic situation, and that plays out over and over and over again. It's like we're being affected then. And I'm not saying that, you know, I'm not putting anyone down for being affected, but it's like when things like that happen, you need to reach out and get some help so that you can stabilize again, right? So that you can work through what's happened in a way that has productivity to it, that you can digest the feelings and move through them and move forward, rather than continuing to circle back on the issue and ruminate on it and just like have it like being like this, like on a repeating loop. You need to get you need to find a way to work with that experience that you can heal and process it. And you may need to seek out someone who can like support you in that, like a professional. And that's totally like, it's a wonderful thing to do. It's a huge privilege to have someone to help you work through all that stuff, you know, to work through that. I mean, not everyone can afford that or access it, but I mean, there is a lot of like different things and options these days that we never thought about before. And I mean, I guess when it all comes down to it, there's always the good old fashioned like those like what is it called, crisis hotlines or like support groups, right? There are support groups out there you can go and they're free. We just forget about that, right? We just like overthink it. We think everything has to be like a $500 like, you know, therapy like psychiatrist session like from a movie. Oh, it probably doesn't cost that much, but you know what I mean. I guess it might if you don't have insurance. Okay, so affect consciousness. Let me read this to you. So we do not want to be affect consciousness, but it's not like we can just snap out of it. It takes practice, right? It takes mindfulness, it takes awareness, and it's part of the unfolding of consciousness, right? So when we are affect consciousness, we are being reflexively reactive. We are being the victim of circumstance. We're believing illusion. We're uncertain. We're inconsistent. We have a 3D mindset. We're forgetting our power. We're on autopilot. Our unconscious patterns are playing out. We're on default. We need to practice pause. Why is this in my movie? Which the Kabbalah Center, that's how they teach it. And check out Kabbalah.com or KabbalahCenter.com. And like they've got all kinds of like wonderful classes. You can just sign up for like Kabbalah 1. It's a 10-week course. They have like Kabbalah 1 through I think 6. But they have all kinds of classes and all kinds of things. But just you can check it out. But anyway, just giving them credit for pause. Why is this in my movie? Pause. What a pleasure. Why is this in my movie? Give yourself space to use free will. If you are in affect consciousness, you are not exercising your divine inheritance and power of free will, right? So you want to become the cause consciousness, so you're certain, you're calm, you're not reflexively reacting to everything on default, and you're allowing yourself the time and the space to breathe and choose with consciousness. Somebody that was watching the other day were laughing because I was talking about, would Cher get in a hurry? Would Cher rush herself? And the girl said, haha, what would Cher do? And I was like, that needs to be a bracelet or a shirt. Like, what would Cher do? Think about it. Just tune in, you know, whenever you're lost and you need some guidance. What would Cher do in this situation? Okay, let's check in and pull a couple of tarot cards for a little bit of clarification to just finish out that message. Ooh, Ace of Cups reversed, but the Modern Witch Tarot, I don't really think it has reverse meanings. If we are looking at the Ace of Cups reversed, I have a feeling that we are, there's some kind of an emotional connection or tie or some sort of leftover work that needs to be done or healing that is just not moving, that it's sort of stagnant. It's just like sort of like a pond. It's not moving water. So there needs to be movement there. There needs to be cleansing. The new moon is a great time for cleansing that too, for cleansing the slate, wiping the slate clean. We've got the High Priestess. So there's something under the surface that is yet to be revealed. And it could mean like with this Ace of Cups reversed, I feel like we are going deep into the subconscious, into this sacral chakra where the water and the astral realm and emotions are ruled, and our desires and our feelings. And I think we're going deep to find out to dig up all of the things that are out beneath, like out of our awareness, that are affecting our emotional lives and our relationships now. And it could be like heartbreaks from the distant past and cumulative disappointments and like things that didn't work out. But it's time to really finish grieving those things and acknowledging them and drawing those lessons from them, and then letting them go, because there's like these unconscious fears right now that have accumulated because of all of these emotions that have yet to been dealt with, that are kind of like freezing up our situation, and it's adding to this disembodied anxiety, and it's adding to the fretting, right? So we want to, really cleanse those emotions, face the fears that we have been avoiding, look at the things that we have not wanted to look at, and, realize that there are certain things in the situation that we just don't know the whole story, right? But we might know more soon. Okay. All right. What else do we need to know to make the most of Virgo? New moon cycle. Oh, here we go. The moon card coming up. So facing fears, things that are hidden now will be revealed. They will be coming to the surface maybe by the next full moon. So what you're going to want to do in the meantime is just pay attention to your feelings. The sacral chakra is also ruled by the moon, or it's associated with the moon. Reproductive organs and the feminine menstrual cycle and all that is like aligned by the moon. So pay attention to all of that. Use that energy and work with it. Continue using water healing methods like baths and, putting your feet in the creek if you can. But yes, something is going on that that may not be completely clear to you right now, and you may be like dreaming things that may be revealing more. So pay attention to your dreams. And Four of Wands. So harmony is around the corner, and the next level and the next step, and a moment of respite and fulfillment, and like having your foundations laid and then starting to build fulfillment and harmony onto these foundations, right? So very exciting. It's just like, clearing the emotional decks, facing these fears, facing these things that you haven't wanted to look at will make room for like all this harmony and happiness and celebration to unfold. So good times are coming, I promise. All right, let's get a moon cycle card. Ooh, I think it's that one under my foot. What do you need to release? Oh my God, it's like this, there's never any other card. This was the card that we had from last time. But it's still so true. I think it's just like continuing on that theme of what are we letting go to really make room for the fullness of what's wanting to come in, and it's coming in, it's right around the corner. And there's a lot of harmony and celebration that wants to come into our life, but there's something that we need to release. Either something that we're hoping for that we just need to let go of because the fretting and the holding on is just like, it's not allowing it, or something that just doesn't, it's just frankly not good for us anymore. It needs to be let go of, right? Is there a habit that you need to kick, or something that, like, if someone or an opportunity were to come into your life, would this thing be kind of a big damper on the situation? Okay, or prevent you from fully stepping into the happiness of the next situation without looking over your shoulder and wondering if you've made a mistake. Okay, and the Dreamer, I love this. From the Angel Wisdom Tarot, we got the Dreamer, which is the Fool, which is starting fresh. It's a new start. It's a new adventure. With the Christ consciousness of a newborn, thinking and believing and knowing that the path has been cleared, that each step is ordered before you, and that you haven't a care in the world, that you are not carrying a lot of baggage with you from the past, that you're going forward unencumbered, fresh start, through this new door of opportunity into a whole new life cycle. All right, name and claim it, people. We're rising again. Born again and rising anew. All right, now let us check in with our manifestations. Watch your thoughts, okay? So it's important to not only think about what you desire, it's important to only think about what you desire, not what you fear. So focus your intent as the magician, as Mercury, as mutable Mercury, on what you are wanting to call in, not what you are wanting to avoid, right? Focus on the outcome that you want and desire. Break free, try different ventures and experiences as a way to grow and learn, right? So loosen up, have fun, let go of the things that aren't working, be mutable like Virgo, be willing to change and try something new, right? It's not the end of the world. You just want to try something else, see if it works. If it doesn't, then it doesn't, right? No harm, no foul. All right, what next? Oh my gosh, my favorite card, A New Dawn. The worst is behind us. The worst is behind you, and positive new experiences are on the horizon. I feel that. I'm feeling it coming, and I'm so excited. Set your sights higher, increase your standards, and expect more for yourself. Don't settle. So hold on to the certainty that what is in your highest good is already yours. What is meant for you is already yours. And you just need to feel the excitement and the gratitude of having that. And when you feel that fulfillment without even having the thing, you don't even need the thing anymore. That's when you get the thing. Because then you are free. You are liberated. You don't have to be afraid of losing the thing. You know that you can be happy either way, and nothing holds like control over you, right? You're completely liberated. All right. What do we need to know from the romance angels about our love lives for the next couple of weeks? Ooh, romantic feelings. Your feelings are real and worthy of exploring. Now, we just did our Thirsty Thursday reading, and we also wanted to be sure that in the context of our shortcomings, the overcoming our shortcomings, romantic feelings came up. So pay attention to romantic feelings. Obviously, they are valid, but don't let them cloud your judgment or blind you to a situation that you're not letting go of, that is standing in the way of something that can be of equal value that you're giving coming in, right? So don't let your romantic feelings hold you back by projecting your fantasies on some situation and over investing in something that's not returning the investment back at you, something that's not quite mutual. That don't let something go out of balance like that. But do pay attention to your romantic feelings, explore them, follow them, see if there's anything biting on the other side of those romantic feelings. But if there's not, then great, next, move on, because something's coming around the corner, and we don't want anything that's not meant to be there to be standing in the spot, right? Worth waiting for. Divine timing is at work in your love life, right? So pay attention to your romantic feelings, but don't settle for what less than you deserve, because it's whatever you are really desiring in your heart and calling in, it's close and it's worth waiting for. So don't sell yourself short yet, okay? Don't give up. Deception. Someone is wearing a false mask in the situation. So something is not as it appears to be. It could be that some of you are maybe meeting someone or are going to meet someone who is not as they seem, right? Who is maybe just looking for a fun time, and you are looking for something more serious, and maybe you're not listening to yourself when you get the red flags that they're not really like looking for what you are. When you figure that out, don't keep staying, right? Because you're putting yourself in the position to get hurt. Now, however, for others, there may be a situation where it's not as dark as all that, but maybe something is not as it seems, which makes me think of the bad advice card, right? Maybe there's a situation where you think it's one way and it's not. And so because you think it's one way and it's not, you're trying to handle it in the traditional sense or according to popular opinion, and that's why it's not working, because you're trying to treat an issue, but you're treating the wrong issue, or you're treating a symptom, but it's not what you think it is, right? So, I mean, you might just have to get out there and ask some questions and face some fears, people. But there's something romantic stirring, something is worth waiting for, and something is not as it seems, okay? So be willing to walk away from the big bad wolf or the narcissist or whoever it is that's not good for you, or if there's like someone from your past that you can't get over, it's time to move on. But just be aware that in regards to your romantic situation, maybe there's more than meets the eye in a situation, and follow your gut. If you're feeling like this feeling of dread, then maybe there's something that you need to ask about. Maybe there's something that someone's not revealing to you that you need to know about, right? If you're feeling more curious, a little bit hopeful about it, maybe there's just something, maybe you've misunderstood the situation, right? So maybe you just want clarity. And we have attraction for our final card. You attract romantic love by enjoying this moment fully. So what I would suggest is get busy with your life, doing you, getting everything prepared, following your plans, following your goals, pursuing your dreams, pursuing all the things that, you know, help you take good care of yourself. And the more that you fall in love with you and your life, then the more you open yourself up to more love coming in. All right, you guys, and Mary gets the last word. We always get our last word from Mother Mary, Jesus' mom. All right, Mary, what do you want to tell us? I feel like it's this card. Action! Today I take action related to the priorities I have previously put off. You just spit everywhere. Oh my gosh, sometimes these cards, they have such a good sense of humor. It's like, okay, whatever she just said, we'll just have that card come out. Yeah, so get with it, Virgo. Virgo new moon energy is going to be influencing the whole month, but it's, you know, it's the strongest. So really connect with it on Saturday and Sunday and really like hone in on your plans and, you know, thinking about the actions that you want to take. And then during the waxing cycle, the next 2 weeks, building up toward the full moon, start taking those actions. Give yourself at least 3 doable, clear actions that you can take toward your goal, all right, over the next 3 weeks, and see like what kind of momentum you get after that. All right, you guys, I am excited to see what happens and excited to see how much energy and power this Virgo new moon gives us. Like when it's actually here, like I've already been like on a roll for like a week now, and we're not even like in like its energy yet. So I'm really excited, but I'm like one of those nerds. I love getting things done. I love like marking things off my list. I actually bought a whole pack of like multicolored dry erase markers so I could redo like my big master plan, my plan for world domination on my dry erase board in my kitchen. So how Virgo is that? Like my nerdy, like color-coded organizational dry erase board project. All right, you guys, I am signing off. This has been lovely. I am Liz Taylor. Like this video and subscribe to my channel. I want to grow my channel. I want to get out there to more people. Comment on this video. Leave me an emoji or whatever. Don't be shy. And share this with your friends. Do everything that you can ever do with any piece of content or a video. Every little bit helps. You wouldn't believe like how like a couple of actions can like broaden my reach to tens of thousands of people. And it helps others connect with these messages. It really does. Like, people reach out and let me know. It's so much fun to hear about. So yeah, good luck. Let me know how the energy is treating you and what you're gonna do during the Virgo new moon. All right, y'all. See ya.